The Valley of the Sun lived up to its name today. Temperatures in the low 90s greeted fans into the cool of the sold-out U.S. Airways Center for Game 2 of this Western Conference semifinal featuring the 7th-seeded San Antonio Spurs and the number 3 Phoenix Suns. With Hall of Famer Doug Collins and Marty Sider patrolling our sidelines tonight, let's take a look at the Taco Bell starting lineups. This is Kevin Harlan. George Hill, Doug, was the focus of Game 1. He's the focus of Game 2. You weren't sure if he was going to start. They're going to bring Parker off the bench, and Hill gets the nod.
I think it's a great move. The Spurs need George Hill. He was so vital in that first-round series against the Dallas Mavericks. Had 3 very big scoring games, helped them win that series. Look for them to give George Hill more help off these pick and rolls tonight. Steve Nash really attacked him, had 17 points in the first quarter. They'd like to get Nash slowed down early in this game tonight.
With an experienced crew with Crawford, Garrettson, and Stanford, there was a screen by Duncan, the missed shot by Jefferson.
Well, you can see also they're trying to get Richard Jefferson off. He had a very quiet game, 1 of 3 in Game 1. They need him to put some points on the board. He had a big Game 2 against the Mavericks on the road. Had 17 in the first half, 19 in that game when they weren't on the road.
With the shot clock at 9, this is Jaron Collins from outside. The San Antonio Spurs come the other way with Manu Ginobili. He had a good Game 1 after staggering a bit in the first half. Reddit veteran came in, and there's a nice layup inside by Richard Jefferson. An early 2 for him.
Well, you expect the Spurs to be much more aggressive tonight. When we talked to Greg Popovich before the game, he said when he watched the tape, he thought they should have gotten beat by 20 points. Felt very good they were in that game. I think he feels very confident about this game tonight.
A lot of people watching Richardson tonight. He had a terrific Game 1. When he scores well, the Suns team really thrives. Here is Hill, picked up by Nash. Hill was 2 of 9 the other night. We were talking about that earlier, and Hill missing his first offering with the rebound by Stoudemire. Stoudemire had 13 rebounds in Game 1. Nash over Duncan. In the first quarter in Game 1, Nash had the 17. That was huge for this Phoenix ball club. Grant Hill and George Hill on the switch was defending a big offensive rebound early for Phoenix. Nash. Jefferson is on Grant Hill. They have a mismatch now with George Hill watching Collins, and they go inside to Stoudemire. McDyess with the rebound.
Well, all contested shots so far for the Phoenix Suns, not anywhere near the easy looks they had. Steve Nash had 4 layups in the first 3 minutes of that game the other night.
It's McDyess, the close by Stoudemire, and just like that, a good start for the San Antonio Spurs, 2 of 4.
And it's interesting who's taken all the shots. Richard Jefferson 2, McDyess has taken 1, and George Hill. You think that Greg Popovich understands that the 3 stars need some help. He knows during the course of the game, Ginobili, Parker, and Duncan are going to get theirs. They need those 3 other players to score for them tonight if they're going to win.
McDyess picked up his first, and the Phoenix Suns on that hit by Grant Hill are now 1 of 6 from the floor. Here comes Hill. Really was instrumental in the Dallas first-round series for the Spurs. Ginobili finds Duncan, and that's a good sign early for San Antonio.
And Duncan, a nice job that time to sort of sidestep Steve Nash, who stepped over, looked like he was going to try to take the charge.
There's Nash with a quick double on top, and it was off the knee of McDyess. It'll go out of bounds. And Doug, you were expecting this. They were going to work on Nash with 2 guys, and here's that play once again.
I see a little sidestep there as Nash came over, just too small to defend that. But, yeah, they're going to be much more aggressive on the screen roll. Greg Popovich said it's almost going to be more of a double teaming. He said they might get a few layups getting on the pick and roll with Amari Stoudemire, but they're going to try to keep Steve Nash out of the paint, which they don't do on that.
No, they don't, because that's what he did so well in Game 1.
Well, 16 points in the paint. He had 33 points, 16 points in the paint. They've got to take that away. Amari Stoudemire had 16, so those 2 guys had 32 of the 56 points in the paint.
Jefferson into 2, inside to Tim Duncan, and Duncan has now hit 2 in a row from close range.
Yeah, but the aggressive play once again by Jefferson on the drive. He found Duncan for that easy basket.
And Hill throws it away.
See also too, with this group that's on the floor, the Spurs can be much more aggressive trapping because they really don't have the 3-point shooting. When Grant Hill is on the floor and Amari Stoudemire and Jaron Collins, they don't have the 3-point shooting. When they come in with Fry and Dudley, they're much more deadly from behind the line, and it changes the Spurs' defensive tactics a little bit.
Here's Ginobili. They double him like they did in game one. Wide open McDyess. They had gone 4 straight hits the San Antonio Spurs had. Now here comes Nash the other way. A little back screen by Collins. Hill is right there. They're all over Richardson. Jefferson with the knock away. Inside, Collins cleans it up. And here comes George Hill. Much more of a swarming defense tonight by San Antonio.
I think Tim Duncan actually got hit in the face that time by Amari Stoudemire as he swung around trying to go to the basket.
Switches on defense over Richardson. Ginobili. Another rebound by Stoudemire. Collects his second early on. Nash picked up by Duncan. That's a shove. That's a Tim Duncan foul. The first on him for San Antonio.
Watch Tim Duncan at the end of this play. Amari Stoudemire swings around right there and catches him in the face with an inadvertent elbow.
Doug, the Phoenix Suns, you're talking about this earlier, but easy points were easy for them in game one.
Well, transition points especially. Nash here in the lane with that running left-handed hook shot. But the easy points of the night, the ones that Greg Popovich was really upset about, 27 fast break points. They said, we're not going to be able to beat the Phoenix Suns if we don't get better transition defense. So let's keep our eye on that one tonight, especially.
Channing Frye has come in for Collins for the Phoenix Suns. Approaching 7 to play here in the first quarter. Ginobili, Hill for 3. Big shot for him and a miss right there. San Antonio corrals it with McDyess and Duncan. Duncan's got 6. He's hit 3 consecutive shots.
And they're shooting 50% from the floor here tonight as opposed to, what is that, 30% for the Suns, 3 of 10. Remember, the Suns got off to a roaring start the other night with a 31-point first quarter.
Look at the points in the paint early. Grant Hill uncovered 3. Rebound by Hill. Parker sent the check in. A toss away right there by Hill. Jefferson couldn't get it. And the first turnover for Greg Popovich's San Antonio Spurs. Here comes Parker. There goes Hill. And Doug, the big 3 out there now for the first time tonight for the Spurs.
Well, now, let's see now if Nash guards Parker. Everybody just assumes that now they're going to guard each other. Nash might guard Richard Jefferson, and they might move Grant Hill over to play Tony Parker. So we'll watch that matchup.
Stoudemire over McDyess. And Ginobili right there, very active to start this game. With the nasal fracture. Got that in the Dallas series. Has not worn the mask. Wears the split over the broken nose. Spinning is Duncan. Defense by Stoudemire. And here comes Steve Nash the other way. Nash with an assist already. Richardson teeing on the 3.
Now the Spurs have to talk about their defense. Now you've got Channing Frye out on the floor. Jason Richardson knocks down the 3. We're going to keep our eye on when he scores tonight. He scores early in the clock is when he is most devastating. Let's keep our eye on that tonight.
And we're back in Phoenix, Arizona. The keys to the game tonight, the cold hard facts presented by Coors Light, Coach.
Well, Greg Popovich affectionately calls Steve Nash the head of the snake, and he sure was the other night. He had 33 points, but he had his hand in 56 of those 111 points. They've got to do a much better job on that. He got his team off to a great start. And then the Spurs defense, what they have been known for through the years, 27 fast break points. And the Suns shot 52%. When the Suns shoot 45% or better in the playoffs, they're undefeated. So the Spurs have got to do a good job of that. And when Jason Richardson scores 20 or more points, the Suns do not lose. And tonight, George Hill, Richard Jefferson, those 2 guys must have an impact on this game because you know the stars and the Spurs, the 3 guys are going to get their points. And you see Duncan right out of the timeout on cue now. He's hit 4 field goals. 3 of those were in the paint, so he's off to a great start here tonight with 8 points.
There's a nice screen by Ginobili on that play. By the way, Hill and Jefferson have started to combine 1 of 4. One of the keys from Coach, the switch on defense. McDyess goes out on Nash. And Steve Nash hits a long 2.
But you can live with that. That's a contested 2. That's not a drive in the lane that breaks you down. He either gets an easy layup or he kicks out for those 3-point jump shots.
Takes away the higher percentage shot. Ginobili into Hill, double by Stoudemire. There was a shove inside. It goes on the Phoenix Suns. With 5:31 to play here in the first quarter. kicked out of bounds. Shot clock at 14. McDyess. Oh, what a pass. It was a beautiful one. Another point inside the paint put up by Duncan. That's the 10th point for him. Ginobili picks up the assist. His third of the game. He's been the playmaker. Richardson. Grant Hill over Mount. Rebound by Jefferson.
Kevin, the Spurs want to push the ball up the floor. They want to have pace to their game, but they don't want to quick shoot the ball unless it's a layup or they get a post up.
Parker into Nash and kisses it off the glass. Pretty play by Tony Parker. And he gives the San Antonio Spurs their biggest lead tonight.
You can see them walling Steve Nash, really crowding him in that pick and roll. A beautiful move on the baseline by Grant Hill off the little handoff by Steve Nash.
For that timeout, by the way, there were no changes either way. Collins, as I mentioned before, is out. They brought in Fry. That was before the break, and a drive inside with 4:35 to play here in the first quarter. Moments ago.
Manu Ginobili looked like he was getting ready to fall down on that play at the last moment. Look at him here, just a beautiful hook pass to Duncan. And game plan here early is get that ball to Tim Duncan in the paint. The Spurs have 12 points in the paint of their 16. And Duncan has 8. So he's off to a great start here. They're posting him and getting a lot of movement in their offense, Kevin.
Bonner has come in for the San Antonio Spurs, taking the place of McDyess. Fry moments ago picked up his first foul. He defends Duncan here. Grant Hill was coming in to assist the defense on Tim Duncan. And Grant Hill has been assessed his second personal foul. So he's going to take a seat on the Alvin Gentry bench. 2 on Grant Hill. They're going to bring in just a moment, Richardson back into the contest. We've got 4:24 to play here in the first quarter. Duncan will be at the free throw line. A paltry 4 of 9 in game 1. Marty, what do you have?
From the field, Kevin, could you imagine a better start for Tim Duncan? 5 for 6. And one of his goals, he told me, was to get early starts, but also one of Greg Popovich's challenges to Tim Duncan, be creative. Don't go to your one standard move. Try different moves. And if that gets you going, clearly when he makes early shot, that helps him out, Kev.
Well, Marty, he's done that here early. They've moved him around nicely. It's not like they've just thrown him the ball in the post. They've got him on the move. They found him with some easy layups. And when you're a big man, if you can get some easy layups, that opens up the rest of the game. And Duncan, you talked about it, Kevin. We got to keep our eye on his free throw shooting. 49% he shot in that first series, and for the playoffs he's shooting 47% from the free throw line.
Nash in the lane, but he did not wall him off that time. The rebound by Jefferson, who claims his 4th rebound for San Antonio. Duncan setting up. He's had 11 of the last 13 points for San Antonio in the 17-13 Spurs lead right now, with about 4 minutes to play here in the first quarter.
Sort of interesting with Ginobili going out of the game the same time Grant Hill. It looks like maybe Popovich wants those guys matched up against each other. So now he's got George Hill back in the game against Jared Dudley.
Spurs have now missed 11 consecutive threes going back to game 1. Three-point shooting for them so important because of spacing. Here's Richardson finding a couple on him. Shot clock is down to 9. Richardson and Devano, who knocks it away inside with some nice defense. Jefferson on the run, and the Fry, and a foul. It goes on Channing Fry of the Phoenix Suns. With 3:36 to play in the first. Fry picks up number 2.
You know, it's so amazing when guys have bad first games, how predictable it is for them to come out and be aggressive, especially on this San Antonio team. In game 2 of that series against Dallas, Greg Popovich, without saying names, had called out some of the guys on his team, said some more guys played like dogs. One of those guys was Richard Jefferson. He got the memo. He had 17 in the first half of game 2 against Dallas, had 19 for the game. He's come out here tonight. He's been very aggressive, handling the ball, looking for his shot. He already has 5 rebounds tonight, Kevin. He had 3 the entire first game. So he's gotten the memo, and George Hill's gotten the memo. The Suns are going to have to pick up their level of aggressiveness right now, because right now it's going to the Spurs. They're getting all the aggressive plays here early in this game.
Doug Popovich has been on Jefferson all season long. They spent a lot of money to get this guy.
Yes, during the luxury tax, and he's very, very important to this team, obviously.
All off Stoudemire. They did it with Jefferson and with Hill and with Bonner. All in that bottom half of the circle of the lane as Odmanson has come in for Fry. And the foul goes on George Hill for the first time.
Oh, Kev, look at the score right now, 18-13. The Suns had 31 points in the first quarter. So the pace of this game, obviously right now, in favor of the Spurs.
A look now at the upcoming national TV schedule. It'll be game 2 of that Atlanta-Orlando series. That's on ESPN tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern time, and ABC on Saturday. We'll give you game 3 of the Lakers and the Utah Jazz from Salt Lake City. And then TNT on Sunday. Doug and I will be in San Antonio for game 4 of this series. The Suns and the Spurs. What about what Orlando did to the Hawks last night? My goodness.
I guess they were a little rusty after that 7-day layoff. Only won by 43.
Stoudemire disappear at the line. Jared Dudley is in with Amundsen. Richardson remains with Stoudemire and Nash. This is Tony Parker over Stoudemire. Tony Parker.
That's a tough matchup. You're trying to get Jared Dudley on him in that situation. And Jared plays very good position defense. He just does not have the speed and foot quickness to stay with Tony Parker.
Nash, again, they put 2 on him. Parker, Jefferson, Duncan, Hill, and bottom of the 5 out there for San Antonio. It was deflected by Bonner. It's picked up by Hill. It sets up a 2-on-1 the other way. A screen by Jefferson on Richardson. Rebound by Amundsen. The missed shot by Hill. Across the way, they've got Dudley, and here come the Suns once again. George Hill over 3. They put this one from outside, and that is a miss. Richardson can't knock it in. Suns have never led. Spurs have led by as many as 5. The second San Antonio turnover. Hill was defending as Dudley was driving inside for the Phoenix Suns. The foul goes on Hill, and Doug, he's picked up his second personal foul.
Yeah, he's still struggling. He had a fast break. It looked like a 2-on-1 with Richard Jefferson. He mishandled the ball and missed a little jump shot. He's just got to calm himself down.
Doug, the Suns' Steve Nash pretty much ran the show in game 1 for Phoenix.
Yeah, he controlled the whole game in the words of Greg Popovich. I'm going to show just what he did in the screen roll. The Spurs were not aggressive the other night to start the game. Look how he just turns the corner, lays the ball in the basket, and those 16 points in the paint. Look at him this time. He just sort of weaves in and out. He crosses over and then splits. And DeJuan Blair goes right around McKnight. Now, this is a mistake by Richard Jefferson. In his playoff career, Grant Hill is 2 for 11 from 3. Watch this penetration. I mean, Richard Jefferson has got to get in there and force him to kick that ball out to Grant Hill. So they've done a much better job tonight. And again, Kevin, 31 first quarter points for the Suns in game 1. Tonight they have 16. More importantly, they're shooting only 32%. They shot 52% in game 1. Jason Richardson 1 of 5 tonight. Stoudemire 0 of 2. So those 2 guys 1 of 7. So they've done a nice job on those 2 other scores.
Greg Popovich called Steve Nash the head of the snake for this Phoenix Suns team. Nash, by the way, is still playing with that right hip impingement that causes him pain, except in game 1. We'll see what he does in a day's rest tonight. Leandro Barbosa is in the game for the first time tonight with Nash and Stoudemire, Amundsen, and Dudley. And Bogans is in for the first time for the San Antonio Spurs. He gave him a solid 8 minutes in game 1.
And he's playing Nash, I think, trying to be strong with him. And it's a nice move by Stoudemire. Bonner cannot handle him down there, so he will take his time with his quickness. He can get any shot he wants to against Bonner. Tony
Parker has come off the bench 2 of 2. They did start George Hill. Hill on the bench with a couple of early fouls. Screened by Duncan. Parker. Wow, he is right on the money once again, and Tony Parker has started 3 of 3.
When he sees the Suns, his eyes light up. A few years ago, he had a 41-point playoff game against them. He had 3 games in that series where he had at least 30. And right now, that jump shot of his, that mid-range game is really honed in, and he's knocking that jump shot down. You cannot go into those pick and rolls.
Blair has come in for Duncan. DeJuan Blair, the rookie out of Pitt, with the quick foul right there. It's called on the Phoenix Suns. Dudley was in there defending. 1:21 to play. Foul's going to go on Dudley for the first time as Mano tries to straighten out that padding he's got. There is a splint underneath all that tape. Doug, they tried a mask. He didn't want to wear a mask. He wears this. Feels more comfortable. He hasn't lost 1 ounce of aggressiveness with that broken nose at all.
It's interesting, though, he has not shot the ball well. He's gotten to the free throw line. He says, he told Marty Snyder the other day that he doesn't feel like it's affected his shooting. The game the other night, he was 9 of 20, but got to the foul line. That's the one thing with him. You've got to keep him off the free throw line. He's the one really good free throw shooter for the Spurs. And Kevin, the other night I thought also too, I thought the Suns did a much better job closing quarters than San Antonio. Let's see how this plays out here tonight.
And it seemed like every time there was a push by the Spurs, there was a great response by the Suns. Great interception by Blair. It was intended for Stoudemire. It's the 4th Phoenix turnover. It's Parker with a stutter step and a floater. Beautiful teardrop play by Tony Parker, the 07 Finals MVP, giving San Antonio their biggest lead so far in this game with under a minute to play. No Bogans. This is Nash. Amundsen active. Nash cleans it up and speed feet Stoudemire with a San Antonio foul.
I say Keith Bogans right now is getting an earful from Greg Popovich, because that was a long rebound. And the Spurs stood there and watched as the Suns were able to pick that up. That's 4 offensive rebounds now for the Phoenix Suns. So they're shooting only 7 for 21, but they're getting some extra shots at the basket because they're getting all those long rebounds. And I'm sure Greg Popovich is going to talk to his team at halftime about rebounding those long rebounds.
Bogans picks up the foul. By the way, you're looking at the coach of the Spurs, Greg Popovich, and the Suns uniforms tonight, wearing the special uniforms on Cinco de Mayo to honor Phoenix's Latino community. No fouls to give either way. Dragic is in. Goran Dragic from Slovenia, the second-year guard, is right on Parker. The quick double trap right there by Amundsen. The switch, and here's Parker getting it inside to play. What a pass by Tony Parker.
Well, you can already see the supporting cast tonight of the 3 stars from the Spurs are playing much better than they did in game 1.
Andro Barbosa, screened by Amundsen. Bonner with the rotation. Dudley trapped. Little game of twister.
Oh,
Doug, I mean, just visually, you can just see a far more aggressive San Antonio defense tonight.
yeah, and I feel a more sedate Phoenix crowd in here too. I don't know if they've relaxed from winning game 1, but I have just not felt the energy in the building. And right now the San Antonio Spurs, it's a 6 o'clock start here, and I'm not sure the Suns fans have gotten into this game yet, but the Spurs have dominated this first quarter, and it makes it harder for Alvin to play his bench longer stretches when they're playing from behind rather than like they did in front the other night when they were up 9 at the end of that first period.
Shot clock at 6. Barbosa. Bogans was defending, and Barbosa just lost the ball on the 5th turnover as Barbosa and Ginobili go head over heels, and 3.4 to play. And the quick foul goes on Leandro from Brazil.
And the guy you don't want to foul is Ginobili. You're shooting free throws, and that's what happens a lot of times with a player like Barbosa. He used to play a lot of minutes, and now his minutes are cut way back. Dragic has got his minutes. So what happens sometimes, Kevin? You try to squeeze so much into a fewer minutes that sometimes it works against you. He turned the ball over. Instead of running back, he compounded it by then fouling, and you put Ginobili at the line with 3.4 seconds to go. So when you lose the ball like that, you're Barbosa. You just got to get back, and you got to play on. You got to play next play. You can't try to get it right back.
Here, Temple will come in. Parker will exit for the final 3.5 seconds of this first quarter. Phoenix has never led. Drive by Barbosa. That is a foul called on Bogans. Second.
Bogans just gives it back. And look at Greg Popovich. What are you thinking about trying to take a charge 85 feet away from the basket with 2.3 seconds to go? And he's going to have to shoot a half-court shot. And now you're going to give him 2. Those are the kinds of plays right there you can't make in the playoffs. You've got to stay away from just giving teams points in that kind of situation.
The Suns took care of the Portland Trail Blazers in the first round, 4-2, and the San Antonio Spurs beat the second-seeded Dallas Mavericks 4-2. Caught some people by surprise. And there goes Bogans with his second personal foul. George Hill is back in the game. So only one starter out there for San Antonio, and that is Manu Ginobili. Boy, the bench has been good so far in this game for San Antonio. Ginobili into Amundsen. Good if it goes. And the Suns have their largest deficit of any of their 5 games against the Spurs this season. They're down by 10 earlier, now down by 9 at the end of one. San Antonio down 1-0 here in Phoenix.
Welcome back to Phoenix, where the Spurs are up by 9 points at the end of one quarter. Marty Snyder here with the Ford Coach's Corner with Greg Popovich. And Coach, 33%. You wanted a more aggressive defense. You got it. Is that what you're looking for?
Well, we needed to try to handle Nash a little bit better. He was great in game one, and we just let him have his way, so we're trying to do a better job there.
I was going to say, how well did you guys do against him, and can you continue that for the entire game against him?
Well, I don't have the answer to that. We're going to try, but we'll see.
All right, thanks, Pop. Kevin?
Doug, you were saying earlier that Nash gave this team, with his performance in game one, 17 first quarter points. Great confidence that lingered the entire game.
Yeah, and Greg Popovich knows that. Obviously, when you win 4 championships, you know where the heart and soul of the team is. They went after Nash, made him work a lot harder, but it's impressive what they've done with Amari Stoudemire and Jason Richardson. Those guys are 2 of 8.
Here is Barbosa, who begins the second quarter out there with Dudley and Dragic and Stoudemire and Amundsen. Here comes Bogans back in the game with Parker and Ginobili, Blair and Matt Bonner. That's the 5 on the floor for each team. Here comes Tony Parker. The mismatch on Stoudemire, who almost got a hand on it. Blair is there to clean it up and points in the paint. Good story so far for San Antonio.
Well, Blair, 4 points. He's got 2 baskets in the paint. That time the Suns switched that screen roll, and then Barbosa just could not block him off the boards. And now you got the bench from the Suns in there with Amari Stoudemire, the rest of the bench. Remember, Kevin, I talked about playing with a lead. The other night, they were playing with a 9-point lead at the end of the first quarter. Tonight, a 9-point deficit. So let's see how much Alvin Gentry trusts those guys. He does not want the Spurs to push this lead to 14 or 15 points.
San Antonio tonight, 8 assists and only 2 turnovers. Phoenix, 3 assists and 5 turnovers. And that's a foul. And that goes on the San Antonio Spurs. And Bonner's going to pick up his first. So different efficiencies, Doug, by these 2 offenses so far.
Well, the big number is 4 fast break points right now for the Suns, 27 in game 1. And when we talked to Popovich before game 1, he said we need to play super transition defense. That was his biggest disappointment in game 1.
Spurs right now on a 12-3 march on Phoenix. Douglas into Amundsen by Blair. Bonner has got his hand in a couple of shots tonight by the Phoenix Suns, and inside Dudley punches it back in. A much-needed point in the paint for the Phoenix Suns, and it comes from Dudley.
Well, that's the energy and effort that they get from the bench. Amundsen with a nice play. Dudley goes up and drops the ball off to Amundsen. He misses it, but second effort, misses the layup. But look at Dudley in the crowd. An opportunity here for a 3-point play, and that's what this team, this bench has brought all season long. Dudley brings his 3-point shooting. And right now, the San Antonio Spurs better get on the boards, because the Phoenix Suns are making a conscious effort now with Amari Stoudemire and Amundsen there to really pound that backboard.
Little housekeeping. Bonner picks up his second foul in 20 seconds. Dragic, who backs up Nash. He's been a big story this season. Found a double. Crisper defense tonight for San Antonio. Amundsen to Dudley. Finding points inside Jared Dudley, the former ACC Player of the Year in a midseason trade a season ago with Charlotte. Almost an afterthought in the trade. He has been vital for this team. Blair picks up his first.
Well, again, I can't say enough about just the toughness and energy that Amundsen and Dudley have brought into the game. And you know, sometimes, Kevin, when you're not playing well, you just got to tough it out. You got to compete. And that's what the Suns are doing right now. They've not played well, but they are competing and playing tough and trying to hang around with Steve Nash over on the bench getting some rest.
Fortunately, Dudley's having a hard time with his free throws as Stoudemire picked up his first personal foul. Steve Nash is resting. Stoudemire will exit. Here comes Fry back in the game.
Now they're going to need Dragic, and they're going to need Barbosa here to try to find maybe some offense. Fry can shoot the 3. For the most part, they do not have a primary offensive player on the floor.
There's Ginobili, a screen by Bonner, a switch, and Fry will tail Ginobili. Fry with the rebound. He had good defense in game 1 against Duncan. Dragic ahead to Amundsen. Blair was there once. Blair was there twice. Dragic comes up with it. That's a foul. That'll be on San Antonio. And Bogans will come up with another foul on the Spurs. A lot of hustling inside. Doug Bogans picks up his third personal.
And the bench has finally ignited this crowd. This crowd now is starting to feel the energy that this bench has brought into the game. Right now they've got to be more efficient, but they are really doing a good job of trying to hang around in there.
Switch on defense. Dragic picked up by Blair outside the Fry for three. He has not shot the ball well last 3 consecutive games. An aggressive rebound by Dudley and open lane for Dragic. A knockaway by Bogans. And outside for Barbosa with a three. Off of the Phoenix Suns.
Well, Barbosa is really pressing right now. You can just see, not confident with that three-point shot. As I said right now, the Suns are giving a lot of energy, but they're not getting a lot of results. I mean, they're getting a lot of opportunities to score. They're just not able to put the ball in the basket right now with the second unit.
Parker, guarded by Dragic. Looking for Blair, knocked away by Barbosa. Numbers the other way. Leandro Barbosa. They get the steal, fast break points, transition defense not there. And on the top of the board in Greg Popovich's locker room, transition defense was the key tonight, and was in game one.
Well, when you turn the ball over, you can't get back. And just the speed of Barbosa in the open floor, Parker leaves his feet. And this is what Barbosa needed. He needed to see this ball go in the basket, a 6-0 run by the bench, and they've allowed themselves to hang around now, down only 5.
Guys, wake up, okay? I'm telling you, that kind of effort right there is not going to be good enough. I told you about those guys. They're going to come at you. We got to go back at them. We're letting the ball bounce. It bounced 3 times before we took it out of bounds.
And Doug, the Phoenix Suns have got 9 more shots at the basket than the San Antonio Spurs.
And they've done it with hustle. 7 offensive rebounds in this quarter. So when you're not shooting it well, only 29%, you got to get more shots. Dudley's come in to give him 5 points. He has 2 or 3 from the floor. The rest of the guys are struggling. Barbosa gets a breakaway layup to see the ball finally go in the basket. But from the San Antonio Spurs, Greg Popovich got to be very upset the fact that the bench is coming in and play with much more effort than his team. You see Duncan back into the game. Let's see if they go into the post to him early against Channing Frye.
Duncan, Jefferson, Hill, Bonner, Ginobili in there for San Antonio. The entire second unit in there now for the Phoenix Suns. And that is a foul. It's going to go on Phoenix. Lou Amundsen will pick it up. Doug, there is a split personality, a distinct difference between the starters and the second unit for Phoenix.
Well, with Phoenix, they're going to come in with high energy and defense, and they also bring three-point shooting. And you see early in this game, all the plus-minus tonight is really now Phoenix field goal attempts, offensive rebounds Phoenix. But it's just they're not being efficient with all the things they're getting done out there tonight.
Over Dudley, it's Ginobili. And the rebound by Frye. Dragic. Phoenix Suns at 29%. They just talked about that. The Spurs at 50% from the floor. Turnover. Number 6 for Phoenix.
Yeah, Barbosa is just not a playmaker. When he gets in the air, he's more of a scorer. And again, as I said before, Kevin, coming off the bench, his minutes have been cut back, and sometimes he tries to do too much in a short period of time.
Jefferson looking for Duncan. Defense by Frye. Picked up by Dragic. Turnover number 5. Dragic the other way. Dudley will force the issue. Jefferson with Ginobili. We're over there. Both defending for San Antonio. Ginobili has picked up the foul, the first on Manu.
What a difference a night makes, though. In game 1, Amari Stoudemire and Jason Richardson put up big numbers tonight. They're 2 of 9. Ginobili and George Hill are 0 of 8 combined tonight.
Dragic over Hill. Rebound by Jefferson, and now the shooting percentages dipped down to 28% for the Phoenix Suns.
And that's Richard Jefferson's 6th rebound of the game.
Duncan against Hawkinson, but Tim Duncan is razor sharp tonight. 6 of 7, 13 points in 12 minutes.
Now, old reliable, you bring him in, you go right to him, and he gets a much-needed basket for the Spurs.
Hey! Dragic inside to Dudley. Well, I'll tell you what, Dudley has been a catalyst with his energy, his rebounding, and at times his scoring.
Well, Richard Jefferson gets caught peeking. Look on the baseline. He just turns his head. Kevin, I've said this before. I made my living in this NBA. When guys turn their head, you cut against their vision. Dudley does a nice job there, so he's just working himself to points right now. It hasn't been pretty, but 8 points and really hustle, cutting to the basket. All the little things he does, and the Phoenix Suns are going to be shooting free throws the rest of this period, so let's see if they can get to the line.
Jefferson just picked up his first personal foul of the game, and here is Duncan once again, who's had a brilliant start working into Fry. Will they double? Will they hedge? Ginobili. Jefferson. Manu Ginobili comes up with another assist inside for the Spurs. He's got 4 in the game. Jefferson with 5 points in 3 shots. Mismatch. Bonner watching fronts. Rebound. Dudley. Now, Robinson.
That's just hustle. I mean, Jared Dudley's playing like Dennis Rodman tonight on the offensive board.
Minus the hair color. The drive inside by Ginobili. Snaps it out to Bonner for 3. Rebound by Fry off the bench. Fry has collected 3 rebounds. Dragic picked up by George Hill. The Spurs have gone 0 of 5 in 3-point shooting tonight.
That's such a big part of the success they used to have. Their 3-point shooting way down. This guy is a big-time shooter. Misses this 3, but the Spurs have got to start knocking down some of those threes because the Suns are just collapsing their defense, trying to keep Ginobili and Parker out of the paint.
And the starters continue to rest for the Phoenix Suns. And a nice easy move inside for Duncan with a beautiful pass from the perimeter. Ginobili comes up with assist number 5. Dragic, a lot of breathing space for him. Fry into Bonner. Hill with the rebound.
Good job by Bonner, though. You chase him off the 3-point line. You make Channing Frye shoot a contested 2. Channing Frye shooting way down in the playoffs. It was so important for the Suns in the regular season. Going in tonight, he was shooting 37% from the floor. More importantly, 29% from 3. But watch him. You chase him off the line and make him shoot a contested 2. That's very good defense by Bonner.
Fry was instrumental in one of the wins against the Portland Trail Blazers when he was 7 of 11 and had 20 points.
That's at game 5.
Yeah.
When the Suns bench had 55 points, and he and Jared Dudley had 8 threes in that game. But they really had been struggling, the both of them shooting the ball in that series.
Dragic just picked up his first personal foul. Nash takes his place. Grant Hill. Fry remains. Richardson in the game with Stoudemire. That's the Phoenix 5. Duncan, Jefferson, McDyess, Parker, and George Hill, the San Antonio 5. Shot clock at 2, but tried by Hill, and he gets it to go. Nash with a little bit of defense on that baseline. George Hill, 1 of 4. Game 1, he was 2 of 9. Nash would crowd him. Fry for 3.
See the difference? Shooting a standstill 3 in rhythm as opposed to bouncing it and shooting a contested 2. You've got to get Fry off that line.
Parker and Duncan. Fry did a good game defensively in the first meeting of this series. Working on Duncan. Played him pretty well right there. Here comes Nash. Hill and Duncan were crowding him. Richardson for 3. Uh-oh.
See, the difference is when Nash drives baseline, he's got a 3-point shooter in the corner. He has one at the top. So Fry knocks down a 3. You're going to see the swing here. Duncan is back in the lane helping. He cannot get out quickly enough. Just not comfortable guarding a guy on the perimeter. You drive baseline, you get help, you throw right down that line. You leave Richardson for a 3. Back-to-back threes. The lead goes from 8 to 2 in a hurry.
And we're back in Phoenix, Arizona, taking a look now at the Ford driving force. Boy, Nash, terrific in game 1 with 33 points and 10 assists.
Yeah, it's one thing to give a guy 30 points, but when he throws up 10 assists, 3 of those the other night were for 3. So he had his hand at 56 points out of the 111. And that's why when Greg Popovich was talking to us before the game, he said how Nash controlled the whole game. Tony Parker back in the game now being guarded by Grant Hill.
Fry defending Duncan. Richardson with an aggressive rebound. And here comes Steve Nash. He's got 6 points and 3 assists, and he's picked up by Hill with the crossover. Tony Tony Parker gets it right there. Rebounding advantage is gone to the Phoenix Suns, not only overall, but on that offensive glass.
Yeah, 13 offensive rebounds. They've got 11 more shots at the basket. When you look at the game tonight, the Suns are shooting 32%, Kevin, but they have 44 shots to 33, 13 offensive rebounds, and you got to give credit to the Phoenix Suns bench. They were the ones that made it happen with all the energy and effort that they gave when they came in that second period.
Suns, by the way, plus 9 points beyond the three-point arc. Nash picks up his first. Hill at the line. Let's check in with Marty Snyder.
Kept talking with Grant Hill yesterday. He said, I know the Suns are going to, or the Spurs rather, are going to come out angry tonight. He said, our goal is to match that intensity. The crowd now into it, and the Suns feel like they are matching that intensity. He said, we've got to play almost angry. And Steve Nash told me if we can go to San Antonio up 2-0, that's a completely different world. Last two huddles, Alvin Gentry has told his guys, where's the intensity and where's the pace, Kevin?
Doug, I got to tell you, I think Jared Dudley did about as much as any individual player on Phoenix to kind of get this team and the crowd into the game as Hill dives inside on Hill. Grant working on George.
Oh, no question, but that's what you do. You change the game around. That's what you want. You know, when you go to your bench, Kevin, you want your bench players to be able to come in and change the game. Change the pace of it with their defense, with their rebounding, and that's what they've done. And really, they just were able to manufacture points with hustle. Nobody shot the ball well with that second group. Dudley was 3 of 6, but all 3 of those were easy baskets in the lane.
With a lot of hustle. TNT in June. It's a new season and a new reason to get more leverage. The Leverage 2-hour season premiere event is Sunday, June 20th at 9, 8 Central. Only on TNT. Kevin Harlan, Hall of Famer Doug Collins, Marty Snyder. Game 2 in Phoenix. Game 1. The Suns won by 9.
Well, Ginobili had 27 in game 1 tonight. He has 4 all-in free throws. He's 0 of 5 from the floor. So look for Ginobili to start getting started here. They need him. He's the one that makes them special.
Jefferson over Hill. Duncan is there trying to tap it in. Right in front, sitting on the doorstep and puts in another 2. Duncan has had a terrific game with a game-high 17. 8 of 12 for Tim Duncan. Richardson for 3, whacked by Ginobili. 3 free ones coming up at the line. Manu picks up his second personal.
Now, mental mistake by Ginobili. You don't see a lot of those from him, but fouling a three-point shooter. Kevin, you talked about it a while ago. They were +9 from behind the three-point line. And this is just like a 3. They can step to the line and knock down 3 free throws, but you want to contest, but you don't want to foul a three-point shooter. And what he did, his momentum carried him into him at the end. And now you're allowing Jason Richardson to start getting back into the flow of the game. He got off to a very slow start. He had a couple threes. Now he gets to the line, shoots some free throws, sees that ball go in the basket. Kevin, he's had 4 27-plus point games in the playoffs this year. To put that in perspective, he had 6 of those all season long in 78 games. That's what his scoring has done for this team. And when they get the third score to go along with Stoudemire and Nash, Jason Richardson, when he scores 20 or more, they don't lose.
How about the number of threes he's hit, Doug, compared with what the entire San Antonio team is hit beyond the arc?
Well, that's, as I said before, the Spurs are really missing that three-point shooter. They only had 1 guy this year make 100 threes. And when they were really playing and winning championships, they would have 3 or 4 guys make a ton of threes.
You see the free throw score. The aggressive Jefferson, what they would like to see more out of him as he knifes his way for 2.
Well, he's played well tonight. He has 7 points, 6 rebounds, so he's come out tonight and given them good play.
He's got 7, 3 of 5 from the floor. Grant Hill across the lane and into McDyess. A little shove and a foul. Used his left arm to clear the way. The 3rd on Grant Hill, who is the best defensive player for Alvin Gentry's Suns. Here comes Dudley off the bench.
Well, that's a big foul because Grant Hill, they need him at the end of the game to either guard Ginobili or Parker. And they're going to say he wiped away with his off arm. Let's watch here now. As McDyess goes up, watch Grant Hill here as he steps away. Does he push off with that left arm? They said he got that left arm away from his body. Usually when you do that, they're going to call that against you.
Guys trying to set a screen for Parker. McDyess over Stoudemire. Antonio McDyess, who has really found his stroke and his game in this.
We just got to get into a flow and a rhythm, you know, where we're taking good shots, where we're shooting them in rhythm, okay? We'll be quiet, all right? They made their little run, you know, so now we got to make ours. But we got to do it with stops. As long as we're running off stops, guys, they got no chance of getting back. So let's get out. Let's go, Suns. 1, 2, 3. Suns. Remember, guys, we got to take it. They're not going to give it to us. We got to take it.
Phoenix Suns never led in that first half. The big lead for San Antonio, Doug Collins, was 11 points, and it's hard to believe that we sit here tied at halftime, and the Phoenix Suns shot 34.7% from the field. There we are tied.
Well, 13 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
They get 4 threes, and then they did a much better job tonight of not fouling. Remember, in game 1, they had 22 free throws at half. The Spurs tonight, they have 10. And so I talked to Steve Nash before the game. I mean, at halftime, I said, Steve, what do you think? I thought you guys were flat to start the game. And he said, I thought we were a little nervous. And sometimes when you get nervous, that happens. They understand the magnitude of this game. And if they win this game, they better be thanking the bench for what they did in that second quarter.
I'll tell you who wasn't nervous was Tim Duncan. A terrific first half with 17 points and 6 rebounds.
Well, Tim Duncan, he can score in a variety of ways. They moved him around. He got some easy points. That's the play that Kenny Smith diagrammed at halftime. Talk about the second effort by Tim Duncan. He was 8 of 14. He had his 17 points, but then it was the Phoenix Suns with the energy, and that three-point shot got him going. Jason Richardson hit a couple threes. He got fouled shooting a three. Amari, the quick space, the turn, and the score off the glass against McDyess. And this was the guy, Jared Dudley. He had 3 offensive rebounds, 8 points. He and Amundsen and Dragic combined off that bench with 8 offensive rebounds. And Amari Stoudemire finally gets loose for that dunk. So, to me, it's going to be very interesting. Ginobili was very quiet in that first half with 1 of 6. George Hill 1 of 4. So the 2 starting guards, only 2 of 10 for the Spurs.
As you take a look at the Budweiser game summary, well, the bench scoring very interesting. Here is Stoudemire. Is out there, picked up by Jefferson on the mismatch. Doubled by Duncan. And that is a good sign for the Phoenix Suns, who just take their first lead of the game. Stoudemire with 12.
And again, Tony Parker starting the second half like he did the other night. So Greg Popovich trying to get his team off to a good start here in this third period.
Nash falls, Parker feeds. Jefferson open. Richard Jefferson in the contest tonight with 24. With 20 minutes, he's gone 4 of 7 from the field, and he's got 9.
More importantly, he's got 7 rebounds, Kevin. That's it. He's doing the other things other than just worrying about scoring.
That's a good point. Collins a screen for Nash. And Steve Nash, Doug, has his first field goal since 5:46 to play back in the first quarter. Nash with 8. There's a whistle. It's away from the ball. It's down low with about a minute gone here in this third quarter. And it's a foul on Collins, Marty Snyder, who picks up his first. And what do you have?
Kevin talked to Greg Popovich on the way out to the court, and he said, bottom line, Gerald Dudley single-handedly changed that game. He said, during that stretch, we just had nobody to match his intensity. Asked him the importance of getting Manu Ginobili involved. He said, he's been involved. He's taken 6 shots. He just needs to play better. Kevin.
What a block inside by Stoudemire on the San Antonio pick and roll, and the shot by Duncan. Nash racing the other way. They'll set a screen. Nash is tailed. The double on Nash frees up Stoudemire. Rebound by Tim Duncan on the play, and he's now got 7 for the game. Manu Ginobili. He's got 7 points. McDyess, and Nash lets him fire. McDyess continues to be a force with 6 points and good overall play.
Remember the Spurs now, when they started the third quarter, they hit 10 of their first 12 shots. And here's Duncan coming from behind and getting Steve Nash's shots. But look at the tail of the first 6 minutes. When the Spurs scored, they got their defense back and they were able to shut down that running game. Then all of a sudden, look what happened. The Spurs start shooting poorly, 3 of 11. Then the Suns closed 8 of 10. More importantly, they pushed a 10-point lead going into that fourth quarter, which allowed Alvin Gentry to play that bench the first 6 minutes before he came back with Steve Nash to finish the game.
A little switch on defense right there. Collins left free to fire. Rebound by Jefferson, who's talked about his rebounding, Doug, and right there he lassos his 8th rebound of the game. It's Tony Parker. Whistle. Ginobili trying to fight through a defensive set. 9:47 to play in the third. Manu picks up number 3.
That's why Greg Popovich had taken him out of the game right there at the end of the half. That would have been his 4th had he picked up another one. So that good substitution now is going to allow Ginobili to stay on the floor.
Good trap on Nash. Stoudemire working on Ginobili. Picked up by Duncan. They want to run, and here they come the other way with the 8th turnover. Oh, and a great pass by Ginobili to the high-flying Richard Jefferson off the wing.
That's a Richard Jefferson from the New Jersey Nets when he played with Jason Kidd, getting out on the lanes and running.
Collins sets a screen for Grant Hill, who pops it over Duncan. Grant Hill in the game's got 8. Parker and Duncan. Collins on Tim. Who's 8 of 15?
Got to get your hands up there, because Duncan, when he sees your hands come down, he's got that little glass shot that he loves, that little banker. So you got to get a hand up in his face and discourage that.
Nash to Stoudemire. And a foul called on Tim Duncan. That's the second on Tim. Nash was terrific keeping that ball alive. Watch this one again.
Well, I remember when Richard Jefferson played for the New Jersey Nets. I thought they were one of the best fast-breaking teams. When you got Jason Kidd, they had Kerry Kittles, who was so fast at guard, Richard Jefferson, and Kenyon Martin was their power forward. And when they would get out, if you would turn the ball over against them, that's what you saw on the other end, those kind of highlight plays. And Richard Jefferson really is a guy that is more comfortable in that kind of attack. He's learning to play here in the Spurs, a little more methodical, but when they run, he's much more effective.
Here's Amari Stoudemire at the free throw line for the Phoenix Suns. Doug, he's come a long way this season. The rumor was buzzing about a possible trade, and he really settled his game down, played great defense. You mentioned it earlier. He's played about as well the All-Star break as anyone, as Parker hits a nice little shot across the lane.
Yeah, I think he's been one of the top 5 players in the league since the All-Star break, but he's really more connected to his team. I think they feel that he's a better teammate. Not that he was ever not a great one, but he's more connected to these guys.
By the way, for Parker, his first field goal since 1 minute left in the first quarter. Richardson. Stoudemire, this is over Tim Duncan, and a rebound by Antonio McDyess, who collects his 3rd rebound with his 6 points. Ginobili is 1 of 6. It was the second half when Ginobili took off in game 1.
Well, he's streaky. He could throw up 10 points in a hurry.
Parker at 3. Nash lets him fire.
That's found money right there. Tony Parker normally does not shoot the 3-point shot, and once again we're seeing that offensive efficiency that the Spurs showed. It's amazing they're doing it with Tony Parker once again being out there with the starting group.
Nash along 2. Much to the chagrin of Popovich, who felt that Nash was pushing off, and then the Spurs, who had started 6 of 7 in this 3rd quarter, just got the 3 from Parker. Doug, that's his first 3 of the series. First 3 in the entire playoff for Tony Parker, who dances in on Nash. Collins the rebound.
They're trying to make Nash play on both ends of the floor, trying to take some of that, some of his legs away so he can't finish this game in the flurry that he finished with the other night.
What do you think of that strategy? You like that? Make him work on one end so he's ineffective at the other?
Well, absolutely, that's what you do. You don't want to let a guy just stand on the other end and not have to guard. Then he plays one way. Tony Parker talked about that the other night after the game. He said, we just can't let him stand over in the corner and chill. We got to make him guard. And that's why when George Hill comes in the game, he's got to look to make Nash work.
There goes Jaron Collins. In comes Channing Frye, who grew up here in Phoenix. It's Richardson for 3. Nice. Out of bounds with the ball. Trying to save it. It'll be Phoenix's possession.
And Kevin, you know, when you get up against the Suns, we saw it earlier in the first half. They were up 8. It looked like the Spurs were in command. And there is McDyess coming down on the line. Good call by Joey Crawford. But looks like you're in control. And back-to-back plays, 3s. And 8 goes to a two-point lead so quickly against the Suns.
Reactive Jason Richardson. So Richardson inside finds the loose ball. He's got 12 points in 21 minutes. Remember, when he scores 20 points or more, this Phoenix team is virtually unbeatable.
11 straight and they're undefeated in the playoffs.
And 30 and 4 overall. Parker in on Nash, and that's a foul. That's a 3-second. 3-second, excuse me. And it's a violation on the San Antonio Spurs. Tim Duncan sitting inside that paint too long. Hill. Great pass by Grant Hill into Richardson. He's got 14. That prompts a timeout by San Antonio. And once again, we are tied.
And you can see what they're doing. They have George Hill now on Jason Richardson, so they're running him off baseline screens, or they're going to post him. Here's the play now. He's going to hard rub cut off of Amari Stoudemire in the post there. No help that time. Duncan did not give help. The little cut, the easy score, and Phoenix once again on one of those 6-0 runs.
The Suns, Doug, with 14 points. Fitting in what you talked about to start the game, they needed him to score. The big three of the San Antonio Spurs, 39 of their total 64 tonight.
Now the difference is the Spurs are shooting 52% and the Suns 38, but the Suns have 9 more shots at the basket because the offensive rebounding of that second unit. Dudley now in the game. He's playing Tony Parker.
Dudley coming in for Grant Hill. Dudley was such an energizer in the first half for the Suns when they were down by 11. This is Parker picked up by Dudley. Nash chasing and retrieving.
Now with Dudley back on the floor, he's a better three-point shooter than Grant Hill. You have Channing Frye and Jason Richardson. So the Spurs really going to have to lock in here and make sure they chase the guys off the three-point line. This is the Suns' best three-point shooting group.
Nash. 2 to shoot. Richardson. Rebound taken down by Tony Parker.
How about Nash had a 3 that he passed on that possession?
Spurs 6 of 10 with 13 off the bench. George Hill. He hits a second shot of the game. 2 of 5. Doug, you were very interested to see just how Hill would react to Nash and vice versa. Hill, you take a look at the shooting in this quarter right now, back in there with Parker. And thrown away.
I think George Hill did a much better job to start the game tonight, but the big part of that was he had a lot more help. They made a much more conscious effort to try to trap Nash and not let him have all the maneuverability he had in game 1. And so that really helped George Hill. I thought George Hill got knocked on his heels the other day and never really recovered, but he lost some confidence the way Nash went after him in that first quarter.
Switch on defense as the Phoenix Suns rotate. They go inside. Jefferson again sneaks inside. And Parker is right there with a terrific pass, and 13 for Jefferson. 6 authored here in the third quarter.
Well, we always talk about the big 3 plus 1, and tonight it is Richard Jefferson to go along with the 3 stars. Let's see if they're going to be able to finish it out.
It's a 3 by Frye.
You got to rotate and get to those shooters. This is a team now when you've got Amari Stoudemire in the post, you've got Nash running pick and roll, you've got now spacing with Dudley, Richardson, and Frye. This is a tough group to defend.
Phoenix Suns now plus 9 points beyond the arc. Here's a 3 by George Hill. That's good. He's at 3 in a row. After beginning 0-4, now 3 of 6 for Hill. 0 for 3 he began, and now he's at 3 straight. The 3-point shooting you see right there. Nash setting a screen for Stoudemire. They run that play along.
They love that play. You put Amari on the baseline. Nash just dribbles around, and then he dribbles at Amari, and a little flip handoff. We saw that the other night twice, and here early in the game here in this third period.
Parker getting around his screen, taking advantage of some confusion on defense, and buries that shot with 15 tonight for Tony Parker.
They're trying to screen Steve Nash on every play, make him guard, make him defend, make him use some energy.
Away from the ball, looks like George Hill will pick up a foul for the San Antonio Spurs, the second-year player out of IUPUI. Duncan was there as well. Duncan is going to pick up a foul. That is the 3rd on Tim Duncan. Sitting is McDyess for San Antonio. Bonner comes in.
And now Bonner comes in, and he's supposed to be there like Channing Frye, to space the floor and make shots. He is not shooting well. If he's going to play, he has got to make some shots because he's a liability in the other phases of the game.
Right now he's defending Nash. A 3 to the hands of Frye, a shove by Jefferson, and a San Antonio foul. With 3:35 to play in the third quarter. Jefferson with his second.
This is not a good rebounding unit that Greg Popovich has on the floor right now. You have Duncan, but Ginobili, Hill, and Bonner are not good rebounders, so Richard Jefferson is going to have to come back like he's done most of the night. He's got 9 rebounds. He's going to have to help them on the boards.
Nash over Hill. What a shot by Steve Nash. And now Steve, in 12 shots, has put in 12 points. Duncan and Fry, screen, pick and roll. It's Hill. Stoudemire with the rebound, and that is his 9th. Grant Hill back in. Over Jefferson. Bonner the rebound. Doug, the Spurs have had a 71% shooting third quarter tonight.
That's exactly what they did the other night when they went 10 or 12. The difference is they didn't get any separation of that. The Spurs only with a 2-point lead shooting so well.
There's a shove and a foul. Goes on the Phoenix Suns. Richardson is going to pick up the foul. That is the first on Jason Richardson of the Phoenix Suns.
Well, Richard Jefferson having his best game probably about the last 4 playoff games. Remember game 2 against the Dallas Mavericks. He had 17 in the first half, 19 in that game when they stole the home court. Tonight he has 13. Can they do it again and take home court back to San Antonio?
Welcome back to Phoenix, Arizona on TNT, and time now for the Double Down Cam, presented by KFC Double Down.
Well, this is called building a wall. When you're playing against a penetrating guard, you want him to see a lot of black jerseys there. But watch Nash. Just probes, drives underneath the basket, like Gretzky used to do in playing behind that net in hockey. And there's that little handoff to Amari Stoudemire. So you take a play really that looks like it's got nothing, and Steve Nash can turn nothing into something. Amari Stoudemire, you see how he just works right off the handoff and the easy basket. And those are some little things, the freelance things that Steve Nash, I can only imagine he'd be a great jazz musician, just sort of jamming on his own sometimes.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Approaching 2.5 to play in this third. Fry and now Stoudemire, double on Duncan. Richardson is watching Bonner. Duncan collects another rebound. That is number 8 with his 19 points. Bonner 0-3.
Closing quarters has been the Suns in this game tonight. I thought they did a better job the other night. Remember, they had that big finish of the third to go up 10, which helped Alvin Gentry with his substitution patterns, allowed Nash to rest to the 6-minute mark. They trail by 2. This is a very important 2 minutes.
Well, put in those bench guys. You're right, Doug. Stoudemire bulldozing his way inside. Hill with the rebound. And a foul. Aggressively hitting the glass. Amazing is being here at an NBA game courtside. Season tickets for 2010-11 are on sale now. Go to NBA.com/tickets to reserve your seats. The NBA, where amazing happens as Duncan picks up his 4th foul. You talk about the rebounding of Hill. Doug, in preseason, I think they saw they had a rebounding problem. One of the interesting things about this Phoenix team is how they've gotten a lot of perimeter rebounds, or guys from the perimeter going in and getting rebounds for this Phoenix team.
Grant Hill is their leading rebounder in the playoffs, averaging 8. Actually, their second leading rebounder is Jason Richardson. Their third is Amari Stoudemire. So those wings have done a great job going back and getting on the boards. I'd said a while ago when Pop went to that lineup that they were not a good rebounding team. That second shot by Grant Hill got Tim Duncan his 4th foul.
From the free throw line tonight, the Phoenix Suns are +8. Another tie. Ginobili, Bonner teeing up a 3. Blair is coming for Duncan.
That's a shot that Bonner's got to make. If he's going to be on the floor, he has got to be able to knock down jump shots.
Agreed. Fry. Richardson. Fry over Bonner for 3.
That's the difference. You can knock down those threes and space the floor. Channing Frye loves to shoot the ball at home. Tonight he has 4 field goals, all threes. And closing quarters, once again, the Suns take the lead.
Fry's got 12 off the bench. Here's a 3 by Hill. Rebound by Hill. George getting the miss. Grant Hill. Another run here. The Spurs have missed their last 5 now, and here comes San Antonio on defense, and Phoenix trying to cash in. Under a minute to play in the third. Nash running out of real estate.
A nice job that time by George Hill. He really took the challenge and did a nice job cutting off the baseline. But you drive, you kick. Bonner gets sucked in there, really guarding nobody. You cannot leave Channing Frye. That's 4 threes tonight, and he changes the game. You see with his three-point shooting, we saw that earlier in the half when the Spurs were up 8 back-to-back threes. Once again, we see it here tonight in the third quarter.
The Suns have a foul again. Fry is watching Ginobili. Nash said he got all ball.
Well, he thought that the ball went off the head of Ginobili is what he's saying. He said, I hit the ball and it went off the head of Ginobili. Let's see if it did. Hit the ball right there, and it did go off his head.
Sure did. Ginobili into Parker. Congestion inside the lane, and the Phoenix Suns dig it out. A foul as Nash had it, and then was shot.
Tony Parker's looking at Ginobili, and he goes, look, that's not a good pass. Because you had no place to go with that ball. That's that risk reward that you live with sometimes with Ginobili. Watch what he's barely in bounds, and he tries to throw that ball into a crowd. You turn the ball over, and possession is so important, especially with Tim Duncan on the bench with 4 fouls.
Blair picks up that foul right there. He's got his second. Here's Nash at the free throw line for the Suns.
And you foul a 90% free throw shooter. So instead of getting a shot at the basket, you turn it back over. And once again, we see here, if they go up here 5, if the Suns can get a stop and another score, again, it's that separation at the end of the quarters. It's one of the things when you hear me talk about all the time, but you can play a team for 10 minutes and go right along with them. And if you snooze it all for those 2 minutes, they hit you with a 6-point spurt or whatever, and now you're down 6, and that's exactly what's happening here again to the Spurs.
And as you said earlier, he can go to his bench and rest these starters like he's done before. There's a drive on this 9-0 run by the Phoenix Suns over the last 3.5 minutes. And Richardson picks up his second personal foul. Richardson has put in 14. Fry has put in 12. The recipe has been there tonight for the Phoenix Suns because Nash is scoring and Stoudemire is scoring tonight. Here is Parker at the line for San Antonio.
Well, Fry and Grant Hill have 22 points.
TBS in June. From executive producer Ice Cube comes a brand new sitcom about one family's journey to get there. Are we there yet? A brand new series premieres June 2nd at 9, 8 Central, only on TBS.
I'm going to audition to be with Ice Cube on Are We There Yet?
You'd be good on
I got to get on there with him.
You didn't think the Phoenix Suns would be here, did you, when you saw them in preseason?
I sure did not, but they have proved me wrong. But that's what happens when you're well coached, when you're a group of team that's a competitive group. They've got a good bench, and they really enjoyed playing with each other.
Here is Hill, and he's picked up by Jefferson with the shot clock down to 7. Connor got the turnover. Here comes Tony Parker in the final 10 seconds of the third. Parker. Jefferson over Richardson. Richard Jefferson has come to play tonight. He's got 15 points on 10 shots. A big one there to bring the Spurs to within 2, even though the Suns close the quarter on a 9-2 run.
Yeah, an uncharacteristic turnover there by Grant Hill, and Jefferson counters. Got a 2-point game going into the fourth, Kev. This will be very interesting.
Back in Phoenix, very close game. Marty Snyder here with Alvin Gentry. And Alvin, you told you guys they needed to take it to the next level to get over the hump. What does that mean?
Well, we just got to keep playing hard, and when we think we're playing as hard as we can, we got to take it up another level. I mean, these guys are not going to go away. We know that they're champions, and we've got to win the game. They're not going to give it to us.
Big close for you guys. You like to rest Steve until the 6-minute mark. Can you afford to do that with it as close as it is?
I don't know. We'll wait and see. We'll put some guys in and see how it goes.
All right, thanks, Alvin.
All right.
Kev?
Our 3-man crew officiating the game, Doug, has changed. David Jones is coming to take the place of Ronnie Garrettson.
Yeah, but you see what Alvin Gentry's done. He's left Jason Richardson on the floor with Amari Stoudemire, so he has his 2 primary scorers out there.
Ginobili. Stoudemire is in there defending, and Amari Stoudemire's picked up his second personal foul. That'll put Ginobili at the free throw line for the Spurs. Jefferson comes in. There goes Bonner.
I like this group, though, that Greg Popovich is going with. I tell you why, is because you've got the 3 guards out there. You bring in Richard Jefferson. Richard Jefferson can guard Channing Frye. The big difference is going to be DeJuan Blair now is going to have to match up with Amari Stoudemire. That's going to be critical. Let's see if the Suns try to take advantage of that. But this Spurs lineup now, you got 4 guys who can all tack you off the dribble and get to the basket. But this should be very interesting here now as we start seeing these matchups here unfold.
Gerritsen, by the way, has gone out because of an Achilles issue. Blair is battling down low with Stoudemire and makes the interception. Gets the takeaway. Parker the other way. Dragic on him. Stoudemire, Dudley, Fry, and Richardson, the Phoenix 5. Hill for three. Good! What a big-time hit by George Hill of San Antonio. And a timeout taken by the Phoenix Suns.
That's why Greg Popovich started him tonight, because he knew he was going to need this kid. He helped him, George Hill, get through that first round. He started him tonight, and now he's starting to knock down. That's the corner threes that he made against Dallas. Remember the two crucial ones in Game 6 that helped put that game away. George Hill finding the mark.
San Antonio coach Greg Popovich sent a message after game 1. The message was sent and received by Jefferson and George Hill.
Well, they have got 27 tonight, 11 rebounds. Look how well they're shooting. They have 11 of the Spurs' 33 field goals. So right now what they're trying to do, this group on the floor that Pop has gone with, smaller, can get in the open court and play. And you're buying some minutes right now with Tim Duncan on the bench with 4 fouls. And how long will Alvin Gentry be able to go without Steve Nash in the game?
Grant Hill has come in for Channing Frye. Here comes Hill. He's picked up by Ginobili. They get it inside. Stoudemire working his way into Blair.
Kev, I love that. Being a former coach, the importance of when your team needs a basket, coming out of a play, running a well-executed play, and getting your leading scorer to the free throw line, almost a three-point play opportunity. So nice job by Alvin Gentry and his staff. Nice movement. They get Stoudemire the ball down low against DeJuan Blair, and he gets to the line. But that's points that you have to steal. When you're shooting under 40%, you've got to find a way to manufacture some points as Jason Richardson leaves and Barbosa comes in the game. Let's see if Barbosa calms down a little bit. I thought he was way out of control in that first half, trying to go too fast.
Tied for a 7th time. Spurs have led by 11. Suns have led by as many as 5. You see the San Antonio 5 on the floor. Doug just mentioned the foul problems with Tim Duncan sitting on the bench.
That's what they did the other night, though. They're playing 4 around 1. Blair's running pick and roll, and they're just trying to get the ball either inside or kick it out to the open man. That time Blair could not see the pass from Parker. But this is the offense that they played the other night. Duncan was in the game when they did this. It wasn't Blair.
10 San Antonio turnovers. Tony Parker's got 3 turnovers himself and 7 assists. The 5 on the floor you see for the Phoenix Suns. Stoudemire has it pickpocketed by Ginobili. Bono with the steal. Saved by Dragic. Off to Stoudemire.
50-50 balls. How if we talk about that? Gives your team a possession. Let's see if they can make it happen for themselves on this play.
And Jefferson trying to front Stoudemire inside in the post with 2 minutes gone. Here in the 4th. Foul on Jefferson for the 3rd time.
This ball is loose right here. Nice job to Dragic to be able to throw that ball inbounds to Amari Stoudemire. Remember DeJuan Blair in that game 4 we did against the Mavericks, Kevin. He must have had about 4 or 5 of those plays. I thought he got his team about 13 points in that game just by being aggressive.
Dudley for 3. Jared Dudley has come off the bench with 11 points. 4 of 7. Dudley, Doug, with his first 3 tonight.
Well, he's the star of the game right now for the Phoenix Suns. And here's a steal by Jared Dudley right on cue.
Dragic, Barbosa, Hill quickly converges. Well said about Dudley, you're right.
You know, sometimes, just hustle and energy. Grant Hill, I thought, in game 6 in Portland had 1 basket. I thought he was the best player on the floor tonight. Jared Dudley's the difference maker. Steps back, knocks down the 3. Just the energy you heard Charles Barkley talking about at halftime, but his imprints are all over this game. And Kevin, we know how important this last 9:31 is. Somebody's going to be up either 2-0 and have a commanding lead, where somebody's going to steal the home court and go back home, which would be the Spurs. So a big 9.5 minutes that's going to tilt this series one way or the other.
Tim Duncan has come in for Blair. Parker just picked up his first foul. Dragic on the defensive switch. He shot that over Duncan. Doug, while Duncan was sitting, the Spurs -3. He's had a great game, has Duncan tonight. 9 of 17, 19 points. Grant Hill picks up foul number 4.
Grant Hill's done a wonderful job on Ginobili tonight.
Game 1, they sent 2 at him. Finding Jefferson, a wide open lane. Fry gets in there, challenges him, and Fry picks up his 3rd personal foul for Phoenix.
When we look at Ginobili, though, you know, only 1 of 6 tonight, but he has 8 assists. And Marty Snyder talked earlier to and heard Greg Popovich talk about, you know, Ginobili's involved in this game. He just has to play better. It's not like he's not getting his opportunities, but he's finding the open man.
So here is Jefferson at the line. He is 1 of 2 tonight. Sunday MLB on TBS returns this Sunday at 1:30 Eastern Time with rookie sensation Jason Hayward and the Atlanta Braves taking on Ryan Howard and the Philadelphia Phillies. It's a battle of NL East rivals, and it's on TBS. Standing on the first, Jefferson. 33 minutes, 15 points, 9 rebounds.
And going into tonight's game, the Spurs in the playoffs are shooting 71%. So if this game gets close, the Suns are a better free throw shooting team.
The Suns have made 9 more points at the free throw line tonight. See the numbers there. Markers on Dragic. Hill as Ginobili went over to double. Nice ball rotation, getting that defense to move. Hill over Hill. Grant knocks it over George.
You got to recognize who you're rotating to. Grant Hill is not a three-point shooter. You got to close on him slowly and keep him in front of you. You can't let him get to that 15-footer.
Duncan a screen. Ginobili dishing to Jefferson. The shot clock is down to 8. Switch on defense. Dudley goes on Hill. Barbosa is watching Jefferson. Barbosa. Foul. On the perimeter. Leandro picks up number 2.
Watch the closeout here on Grant Hill. George Hill runs at him and then gets attacked off the dribble. When you go at Grant Hill like that, you got to go slowly and keep him in front of you.
They double Duncan. Shot clock is down to 5. Fry, here they come blitzing him again. Inside George Hill. What a pass by Duncan.
So they're going to double Duncan, it looks like now, in the last few minutes of the game. So the Spurs are going to have some opportunities. They're going to have some threes, but they also can slash and cut like George Hill just did. So Duncan's going to have to find the open man.
Quickly the team fouls. The Spurs with 3, the Suns with 4. 8 to play in the 4th. Fry. Late arriving Duncan. Fry puts down another 3. Channing Fry has been a sharpshooter tonight with 15 for the Phoenix Suns.
See, Tim Duncan is trying to chase Channing Fry off screens, and he just can't do that. Duncan is going to guard in the post. They run a play, and they screen down for Channing Fry. Actually, the Spurs should have switched that and let Duncan stay inside. Hill stays with Grant Hill, and Channing Fry with his 5th 3 of the night. Well, with Channing Fry playing on the perimeter, actually playing in the center position, it forces Tim Duncan now to be able to guard him on the perimeter. So they're playing him at the center position, and they're just going to run a little simple interchange here. They're going to switch it. You see Grant Hill just interchange. Channing Fry works right in behind him, knocks down the 3. So now Channing Fry will guard Duncan, and the way he'll stay in the game is they'll trap the post. So they're going to make Channing Fry float around on the perimeter to try to get Duncan out of the lane, and then they will trap him on the other end so Fry can stay in the game.
San Antonio 4 starters on the floor. Phoenix has 1. That's Grant Hill. Jefferson over Fry. Jefferson continues to play well. 18 points tonight for San Antonio.
And the importance of the Suns playing well right now. Nash is continuing to get the rest. We're getting closer and closer to that 6-minute mark where Alvin Gentry likes to bring him back.
3-point shooting has been the difference so far. Hill. Duncan defending. Long two by Grant Hill.
Well, they switched it, and you get now Grant Hill on Duncan, so they're pulling Tim Duncan away from the basket.
7 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. It's Fry watching Tim Duncan. Doubled by Duncan. He's in a grip inside, and a foul called on the Phoenix Suns.
You see the defense that time. Duncan is isolating, and what they're doing is they're going to drive. They're going to push him baseline. This is Duncan this time, and this time he gets caught on Grant Hill. And Grant Hill just gets that little rhythm. He uses that bounce to get the jump shot. But the Suns were going to run at Duncan and trap him on the baseline that time from the weak side. Remember now, he's a 49% free throw shooter in that other series. This is a big problem right now. It becomes a mental thing, Tim Duncan, because he's going to get fouled at the end of the game. Going to knock these free throws down.
Channing Frye just picked up his fourth personal foul for the Phoenix Suns. Clock at 6:55. Duncan from the stripe tonight for San Antonio, 1 of 3. With his 19 points and 8 rebounds. It's Grant Hill, Dudley, Frye, Dragic, Leandro Barbosa on the floor for the Phoenix Suns.
See now Grant Hill is being guarded by Duncan. So let's see if they continue to run him around. Look where Duncan is now. Grant Hill wants the ball to isolate, to attack him. Matchups. They're not going to be able to hide Duncan on Grant Hill. Not tonight. Grant Hill has 16 points, 6 in this period.
Parker, Jefferson, Ginobili, Hill, and Duncan, the 5 out there for the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs are shooting 52%. Suns are shooting 43%. Jefferson over Dudley. Dragic with the rebound. This is the biggest lead for Phoenix tonight after trailing early by 11.
Keep your eye on Dudley now on this play right here. They like to run this play to get him a 3.
This match over Duncan. Dragic missing badly. They had hit 4 in a row until that miss right there had the Phoenix Suns.
Well, when you got Duncan, you got to drive it. You can't settle for the 3.
He had a shove away from the ball and a foul. Looks like Channing Frye has picked up number 5 for the Suns.
Steve Nash back on the floor, right at about the 6-minute mark.
Well, look at the fighting for position in there. Duncan walking out his guy.
Again, though, the free throw line. Now you've got to step up. Every one of these free throws becomes so important as that clock starts ticking.
Doug just mentioned that Steve Nash has come in. Nash sat out for 22 minutes in real time. And while Nash was out, Doug, the Suns were +4 with him resting. You talked about trusting your bench. Both coaches want to. Alvin Gentry's had a reason to.
Well, under pressure, when guys play well, that's when you earn trust. And what happened, I like with Alvin, what he did. He got the right guys, the pieces on the floor to take advantage of the situations. Channing Frye was out there guarding Duncan. Duncan got caught on him. They took him out. He hit a 3. They moved him over to Grant Hill. They isolated him twice, and he scored. It's a game of matchups, Kevin. That's what the playoffs are all about, taking advantage of matchups.
Stoudemire is coming for Frye. 4-point game. 5:44 to play in regulation. Parker and Nash, screen by Stoudemire. High pick and roll. Stoudemire, Dudley, what a fake. Nice rejection inside by Jefferson. Shot clock down to 6. Dudley with the drive and a San Antonio foul. Watch this.
Ginobili comes over, leaves his feet, but a great effort there by Richard Jefferson to be able to get that ball before it gets to the backboard. This great camera work here. That ball might have hit the backboard and was going up, but great hustle that time by Jefferson to cover for his teammate.
George Hill picks up his 4th personal foul. He could be bleeding right there. I would say, as you take a look at the landscape of the season for the San Antonio Spurs, Jefferson playing one of his best games this year for San Antonio.
Agreed. You know, because it's not just the points. He has 9 rebounds tonight. I'm wondering if he caught that ball on the rim when he blocked that shot, or maybe on the backboard. It's like Will Sevening, the athletic trainer, was working on that hand. Let's get a chance. Let's see if he hits it right there. Looks like he hits it on maybe on the rim on the way up. Let's see, does he hit the rim here?
You're right, Doug, he did. I saw the rim move. Good call. See, we don't need replay. We've got your eyesight. Huh? You saw that.
About 2,400 right now.
5.5 to play. Screen by Stoudemire. Switch on defense. The rotation goes to Dudley. Outside. Richardson for three.
That three-point shooting is deadly. Absolutely. When you can drive and get guys to help and you kick, it just takes the life out of a team.
Phoenix is plus 15 points beyond the arc tonight. 9 threes for the Suns. Parker met by Stoudemire. Ginobili for three. What a shot by Manu. His first field goal since 1:22 left in the second quarter.
That was a big shot, too, because the Spurs were reeling, and they were down 7, and they needed that shot.
Parker watches Nash. Lasering it inside to Stoudemire. Count it, and a foul. Pick and roll, one after another. Nash with his 6th assist.
Amari rolling down the lane. Ginobili felt like he was outside the restricted area. It was not. The foul is called, the three-point play opportunity. So now what do you take away, Kevin? You got pick and roll. You got Amari Stoudemire rolling through. If you help on him, you kick out. And the Suns have 9 threes tonight and 19 attempts. They have 27 points behind the three-point line. So you got to pick and choose your poison. And right now the Spurs are having a very difficult time finding out what they can stop from the Suns.
Manu Ginobili just picked up his 4th personal foul. Parker's inside and whacked. San Antonio guards in the lane, a deadly weapon against any opponent. Dudley picks up his 2nd personal foul as you take a look at points from 3.
You look at the regular season, they outscored their opponents by over 5. Against Dallas, they were outscored by almost 7. In game 1 by 9. Tonight by 12. So you start seeing how important that shot is. And as I said before, Kevin, remember now when the Spurs won championships. All the way back to a guy like that, Steven Jackson. They had Bruce Bowen. They had Brent Berry. They had Michael Finley. They had Robert Horry. All these three-pointers. Stevie Kerr at one point in time. And all of a sudden, that three-pointer is not there for him, and it's the difference right now for the Suns.
A little basket interference up there was by Jefferson, who shoved as he was climbing the ladder. The foul goes on Jefferson. 4th on Richard. He'll walk to the other end of the floor. Well, you like the excitement of tonight's playoffs on TNT. What about ESPN tomorrow? Atlanta, Orlando. Game 2, ABC Saturday. Game 3, Lakers and Utah. TNT Sunday. We will be down for Game 4 in Texas. Phoenix and the Spurs. Any thoughts on that Laker-Utah series, Doug, as they go to a 3rd game?
I just think that the Lakers are too big. I think their 3 big guys had 44 rebounds last night. It's been a game effort by Utah. I think they'll probably get 1 in Utah, but the Lakers just too big and strong inside.
Grant Hill at the line. Success, 18 points. Screened by Duncan, trying to pick and roll Ginobili. Snapping it outside to Jefferson. He traveled. Too many steps. Another turnover by Jefferson.
You know what's interesting? The Spurs have gone to small ball because really that's probably the best attack they have. But the Suns' small ball is better than the Spurs' small ball. And right now you're seeing that because the difference, again, is their ability to shoot the ball from behind the line.
Approaching 4 to play in the 4th. Pick and roll, Stoudemire and Nash. And Duncan knocked him off his horse as he was taking it down the lane. So Amari Stoudemire will be at the free throw line, where tonight, Doug, he is 8 of 9. There's a foul. It was on Duncan. He's got 5 with 4:03 to play, and Amari at the line. We'll go back to Jared Dudley, Doug. The crowd was flat. The Suns were flat. He came in and almost single-handedly with aggressive rebounding and scoring and play all over the court. Got this team, got this crowd, and certainly maneuvered the team into position to gain some emotion and passion.
Well, just look out on the floor, and who's out on the floor is who the coaches trust, and Jared Dudley's out there right now. And if they go ahead and win this game, they better give him the game ball because he turned it all around in their favor. Marty started to talk to Greg Popovich, and he said that at halftime.
And the Suns have their biggest lead. Duncan a screen on Hill. Manu puts up a 3. Jefferson fighting for the ball. Dudley grabbed it inside. 3:45 to play. This is the biggest deficit for the San Antonio Spurs tonight.
Now keep your eye on Jason Richardson. They're going to run their pet play here. And he loves to roll out and shoot a three.
And the pick and roll with Stoudemire. They go inside. I saw Nash's eyes looking out of the corner. Doug, you called it. Well, he saw him out there.
Well, the reason he wasn't open is because they didn't help on Stoudemire on the roll. So if they help on Stoudemire, then Jason Richards coming up to the top, Jason Richards would be open. This time they're staying with him, George Hill, and that way Amari Stoudemire. So what do you take away? Do you take away the three or you take away the paint? And Amari Stoudemire now going to work. How about this, though, for efficiency? He has 22 points on only 12 field goals. This is going to be his 13th free throw attempt. So he's getting into the paint, and he's going to work inside.
Almost, if he hits this here, almost 2 points per shot.
It's tough to beat, especially when you're shooting the three ball like they are tonight. They have 9 threes out of 19 attempts.
Ginobili's got 5 fouls. Parker launching a three. Tony Parker. Parker now, Doug, with 20 points off the bench.
Remember what Alvin Gentry said, they're not going to give us this game, you're going to have to win it. Still a lot of time, a little over 3 minutes, an 8-point game. Can the Spurs get some stops defensively?
It's Steve Nash deflected by Duncan. We talked about a stop, and there they got one. The other way, Ginobili. George Hill over Nash. Rebound by Richardson.
I don't think Hill need to take that shot. He was never really set. He got a little excited, and Nash did a nice job of running back and getting his hand in his face.
Phoenix Suns are having a 70% shooting fourth quarter. Pick and roll. Stoudemire, Nash. Into Duncan. Stoudemire. Stoudemire the rebound. Rebound pulled down by Tony Parker. Into the back, pedaling Nash. Duncan. Cleaning it up with the rebound, and he's got 24 in his first field goal since early in the third quarter.
And guess what? It's a 2-possession game.
Nash, Richardson, rebound Jefferson, approaching 2 to play.
Well, Tim Duncan is exhausted here, walking up to get into the offensive position.
Jefferson for 2 over Richardson. Nash has pulled on the rebound.
Jason Richardson did a nice job that time. He came over and helped in the post, forced him to skip the ball all the way over to the top to Jefferson, knowing he's not a great long-distance shooter. You see Jason Richardson, he's pounding his head. He missed a layup that would give his team an 8-point lead. So very upset with himself as they go to the huddle.
Outstanding game here in Phoenix. The Suns were up by 6 late in the fourth quarter to pay off what we talked about to start the show today. The immigration law and all the controversy. The Suns wearing their Low Suns jerseys tonight. Here is the march that Reverend Al Sharpton led. About 3,000 people. There you see the Reverend in the Low Suns jersey right there in the middle of your screen. They walk peacefully past the U.S. Airways Center. They are now at the Capitol, Kevin.
Marty, thank you. Nash. Approaching a minute and a half to play here in the fourth quarter. On the fly, Steve Nash wheels in for 2 with the left hand.
Kevin, remember what I said going into this series, the team that's going to be able to control the pick and roll game is going to be the team that's going to win the series. The Spurs have not been able to handle it tonight. Once again, it looks like they're going to get beat and go down 0-2 here.
Parker along 2. Rebound by Grant Hill. By the way, those points moments ago by Nash, his first fourth quarter points, but he's done a lot of maneuvering with this offense in the fourth.
Controlling the whole game. Sometimes you look at his assists tonight, only 6, but it's his pass that leads to the next pass.
The hockey assist. Stoudemire the screen. Pick and roll. Stoudemire, Nash got it in. Rebound by Amari. A fresh 24-second shot clock that puts to work. Stoudemire the double-double with 11 rebounds. Nash, Hill defending. Richardson. Good! Jason Richardson. Timeout, San Antonio. visit our Cold Hard Facts presented by Coors Light.
Well, the head of the Snakes, Steve Nash, 16.6 assists tonight. Doesn't look like that's a great statistical night, but he's controlled this entire second half. How about the Spurs defense? Phoenix plus 11 rebounds. The transition defense was great tonight, only 8 points. The Spurs held the Suns to 42% shooting, but all those second shots just killed them. How about the Suns' third scorer from Grant Hill, Channing Frye-Dudley, 44 points tonight. And you got to give the Spurs credit. Jefferson and George Hill bounced back with good games, but it's not going to be enough here tonight as the Spurs are going to go home down 0-2.
Two of eight, Ginobili inside to Duncan. Tim with 26. Foul called on George Hill. 5 on Hill. Phoenix will be at the free throw line. Doug, they've shot tonight from the field 42%. Talked about the threes. As we take a look at the upcoming schedule, Friday will be game 3. Sunday will be game 4.
Well, you think about this Suns team, though, how different they are. Obviously, defensively, they're a much better team. They've got a better bench, the energy and tenacity. But in a game like tonight, when you shoot 42%, the Suns would have never won a game like that against the Spurs with 8 fast break points. When you look at the three-point line, they're plus, 9 at the three-point line, but 28 made free throws. The Suns, when they were in that fast breaking system, used to shoot about 17 or 18 free throws. They've shot 35 free throws tonight, plus 13 from the free throw line.
Doug in game 6 against Portland, and game 1 against San Antonio, and again tonight. The Phoenix Suns have handled runs by the opposition with good responses of their own. For instance, tonight it got as close as 4, and now the Suns on a 14-8 run. They have responded to other teams' runs.
Well, you put that ball in Steve Nash's hands and just let him find the right man, and he's done it all night long.
Bonner is in. He's in for McDice. Duncan puts up a 3. Good. Tim Duncan hits a 3-point shot. His first in the playoffs this year, 10 in the quarter.
That shades of a few years ago when he hit that three-pointer to send the game into double overtime. It brings back bad memories, but it's not going to be a bad memory tonight. That 3 is not going to have any effect on this game.
And Duncan had a string of bad games, low scoring games coming into tonight.
There's that 3 I was talking about. Sent that game into double overtime. That was his only 3 of the season. That's when the Suns coming into this playoff talk about all the curses. Yeah. Duncan's 3. We talked about Stevie Nash when he had the bridge of his nose split open. Joe Johnson with the fractured eye socket. You know, the hip check by Ori and the suspensions in game 5. That's his 5th three-pointer for Duncan in the playoffs in his career.
So Steve Nash, 5 of 5 from the free throw line tonight. Last 4 games, Duncan had 13 points and 40% from the field. He came tonight, Doug, with 29 points and well over 50% from the floor. George Hill is fouled out. Here comes Ginobili. This is Temple out of LSU. The Phoenix Suns have gone up 2 games to none over San Antonio. For the first time in the playoffs, the Suns have won without shooting 45%. They were at 42%, but listen to their scoring tonight. Stoudemire with the double-double, 23 points and 11 rebounds. And he has been terrific. He had 23 and 13 in game 1. And what about Nash with 19? Richardson was terrific with 19. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
And let's talk to Steve Nash. You and I talked yesterday about how this was the most important game of this series. What character came out in your team tonight, Steve?
Well, I thought we showed a lot of character. You know, Jared, I thought was player of the game. He came in and got a bunch of offensive rebounds, hustle plays. Our second unit gave us a lift. I thought we came out a little bit nervous and we got kind of passive because of that, and we hung in there. You know, proud of my team.
Why do you think you guys were nervous to start off with?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some days it's just like that. I'm not even sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just felt like we were missing shots we make. We were rushing a little bit. We weren't quite in rhythm. So You know, we were hurrying things when we didn't need to hurry, and it's just uncharacteristic of our team.
You win the game without this kid over here and his energy?
No way. He was huge. You know, played well the whole game, but especially, you know, when we were really struggling early, you know, he gave us a big boost with 3 kind of offensive rebounds and ones. He did a great job.
Jared, let's talk about that. Did you take it upon yourself to say, I'm going to bring the energy to this building and the team?
I tried to. We got down early, down by 10, and it's a tough team. I tried to battle. My shot wasn't falling, so I tried to crash the boards and got a lot of and ones.
Was this a statement game for this team?
I was telling people on my Twitter page for the game, this is big. Game 2 is sending a message to San Antonio, and also like we've been here before, and I know it's a big rivalry, but hopefully we're here to stay.
And what message did you send real quick?
The message is that we're up 2-0 and put a lot of pressure on them, and we're going to go up there with the mindset, try to steal one, and come back here and finish it off.
Indeed, Phoenix does hold home court here, Kev.
And now Doug Collins, the San Antonio Spurs have got to win 4 of their next 5 to move on.
You can't look at it like that, though, Kevin. I mean, that looks daunting. You have to think about one thing, winning game 3, and then just keep giving yourself a chance. The Spurs have been down this road before. They're a championship caliber team. Let's see how they respond.
We'll see you Sunday night in Texas. For Doug Collins, Marty Snyder, rest of our great crew, our producers, Scott Cocco, our director, Lonnie Dale. Special thanks to Bert Bundy, Laurie Brooks, Jeff Paris, Sam Polis, and Pat McGrath. Kevin Harlan saying good night from Phoenix and sending you to Atlanta and our TNT studios and Ernie Johnson.